Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. Make sure to use the code JAMBOX for 20% off and a free gift. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey, what's up? It's Shrista.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up? What's up? We're in the building.
Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Oh, I mean, Tinder profile a little bit different, but for this show, I am an entertainer. I'm a comedian. I'm a musician, promoter, kind of like all the above. And yeah, my Tinder profile, I am single. Hit me up, ladies. Holla.
Hell yeah. No, and you've been doing a lot of things for a long time and definitely been in the community for a minute. So definitely looking forward to sitting down with you on this.
Yeah.
What got you started into it initially? Did music come first? Did comedy come first? How did that get going?
It's a weird question because I never originally thought myself as an entertainer, thought I was going to get into entertainment. Mm-hmm. But I grew up watching Cat Williams, Chris Rock, Chappelle, and I saw stand-up my whole life, but I never actually saw myself as a stand-up. But I got into the entertainment scene, I'll say, by watching musicians.
Okay.
I started really supporting a lot of hip-hop events here in Portland. Mm-hmm. My cousin, Jory, rapped, and so I used to go to his shows. Mm-hmm. And then now his daughter raps, and through that, I met a lot of rappers. And honestly, watching all these people on stage, it kind of made me realize I felt like I needed to be up there. I saw all these people doing these things and I was like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm supposed to be on that stage. But I never really I never did it until someone told me. They were straight up just like, Shrista, you should try stand up. And that's kind of where it came from. Someone else said it and I was like, all right, I'll try this.
Well, you've definitely got the personality and the energy for it. And growing up watching it, 'cause I'm actually in the same boat. Way back in the day, we had one of the early DVRs, and my family was doing silly shows like Gilmore Girls, One Tree Hill, all that nonsense.
Not Gilmore Girls.
I recorded every Comedy Central Presents.
Hey.
And watched all of them.
Yeah,
all of them. I can't even name all the people, but I guarantee you there's a 4-year window where I saw all of them.
Yes.
So I get that for sure. And before we dive more into what you're doing and things like that, the show does have a couple core questions that I want to throw at you as well so that we can keep continuity. But this first one, it's one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite.
Dun, dun, dun.
What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Album?
Yeah.
Shoot, dang, you got to make me think. I was my first album, man. 2 just came to my mind, and I hate that it's those 2. Ew, and it probably is true. Bow Wow and Spice Girls.
Okay.
I'm going to be real. I was a hardcore Bow Wow fan when I was 13. And Spice Girls, I don't know. I like Scary Spice. I like Sporty. I thought they were just tough women, honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't care what people say about Spice Girls. For me as a woman, I just thought they were super dope. And then Bow Wow, this little ninja looks like me. So I was like, hey, look at that little rapping kid. And his energy was always lit, on stage. And he was only 12. So I really liked him. I thought he was just funny and his rapping was lit. And he just had a lot of confidence as a kid.
Yeah, no,
super random. I forgot about that. Wow.
Calling
me out.
I don't know anybody now who would have a problem with Spice Girls. You know what I mean? Like,
Thank you.
I think their music aged well, and they went and did a bunch of like. I can't speak on what they.
I was
did
gonna say I feel like they made an album and did.
Yeah, well, like,
but
I think they had a couple, but they also like went and did things afterwards. Like they went on and had like
and stuff
actual
like
lives. Yeah. So I mean, you know, we're pro Spice Girls on this show.
Hey.
And then
you didn't say nothing about Bow Wow though.
Oh no, I mean, like, I don't think much needs to be said about Bow Wow.
Little Bow Wow.
He had a career that was well stood for.
Yeah, he was a little prodigy child. I'll definitely say that.
Very much so. And then as a twist, what was the first comedy show you ever went to?
Comedy show?
Yeah.
Honestly, I actually never went to a comedy show until the comedy show I went to do an open mic.
Okay.
No, I lied. Ooh, as I said that, I was like, wait. Before I did an open mic, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. I went to a show just to see, I had to see my competition.
Okay.
Man, I remember this now. I went to Harvey's Comedy Club.
Okay.
I didn't know a lot of clubs out here at the time, but I had heard of Harvey's, and I heard of these two Hispanic guys who were coming out, and I was like, okay, some POC people in Portland. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, let me show up for them. I'm so mad I cannot think of their names right now. I feel like a butthole.
That's all right.
Something Acidorian. He had such a stupid name, and that's a part of his comedy. Jack Acidorian. That's who I saw.
There it is.
Boom.
Hell yeah.
I saw him and one of his homies that were up there, and it was lit. And then I saw some locals. Mm-hmm. They were not that great. And I was like, I see why people say I should try stand-up. Mm. And then I went to open mic literally the next day, and then I tried stand-up. So I kind of wrote stand-up a couple days before, like a 12-minute set. Then I went out just to the scene to see like what was out there. And I was like, yeah, I definitely got this.
Damn, yeah, 12 minutes.
And I did 12 minutes at an open mic, and I remember them being like, you're doing 12? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you're supposed to do 3.
Say, weren't you worried about like burning material too early?
Man, I didn't even know.
I guess, like, yeah, you wouldn't have known about burning material.
Yeah, I thought in my head, you're writing a set, you know? I didn't even think about like newbies just write some short joke or something. I don't know.
That's fair.
But it was dope.
I'll be honest, I didn't know that in the beginning open mics were only like 1 to 3 minutes. Like,
yeah,
that was news to me as well.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you gotta like kill them quick.
Yeah. If you don't get out there right away with it in a short set, you're gonna find yourself having a not so good time for much longer.
Harder than people realize. I'm
like,
no, I don't do a lot. They hard.
Well, that and it's scary when you realize how long a minute actually is. Mm-hmm. You're just like, I've still got 25 seconds.
Yep.
And I thought that was it.
Or like, how long?
That was it.
When you haven't hit time, you're like, dang, I haven't got the time. Like, yeah, I haven't hit that light yet.
Yeah.
I've been there too. For longer times though, but I'm like,
fair, yeah.
Weird.
No, I mean,
I could do that. I haven't even reached it yet.
Hell yeah. And then the last foundation question we have, and this one is kind of just to bridge the gap between then and now. Do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take more, like all of entertainment more seriously?
I would say when I started like throwing events. Mm-hmm. I think throwing events, I saw so many other artists like kind of chasing their dreams. And I was also able to see that there was something out there besides just education. Because I do have a bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. The thing was like I didn't want to chase that. And I did. And I wasn't happy there. And it's always weird to hear people saying like, oh, if you're not happy, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm like 50,000 in debt and I still don't want to chase that.
No.
But yeah, with comedy, it was just like it came into my presence. I was around a ton of people who were also chasing their dreams. And I realized I can probably chase mine too. I was like, hey, this is something I can try. Mm-hmm. And after promoting, I'll say that opened my eyes. And that's when I realized, not on some cocky stuff, but on some cocky stuff, I was way tighter than a lot of artists. And I don't really care what people think of that. It's kind of like I realized I had this level of confidence. I had this level of stage presence that other people didn't have. There's also like this part where it's like everyone was telling me I was good. I didn't have to go around bragging to anyone. I never had to tell anyone I was good. I've never, just till this day, which when you level up, I am going to do this. But right now, I have never asked for a booking ever. And I have to constantly decline bookings. And like, I don't tell people this because I'm not always trying to like brag about something, but that's just more of a humble brag. It's like I'm just out here and I'm trying, but it's naturally just there.
Well, I mean, you're aware of the demand. Like,
yeah, and I see it and I'm just like, yeah, and people can say they're slept on all they want, but I can see like why their talent is slept on. And so it's just kind of like, you're not slept on. You just don't got it, or you're not working hard enough, or you're just blaming everybody else. I don't know. A lot of people I see complain about why they're not there. A thing I didn't do on my come up, I didn't care about everyone else. It just felt like I was just chasing my dream and I was confident in it. And so I think when you're not worrying about everyone else, like you literally just start making it.
Yeah.
And like, even I'll say this, like, bitch, I'm insecure as hell. But they don't need to know that.
No.
Because my team might know that, but like they don't need to know that. And when people come, oh, you're so inspiring, you're so confident, it's actually wild to hear, because like inside it's super overwhelming, all this pressure and all this.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's really hard and I have to keep smiling for everybody. But it's got me a lot further than going online and complaining that I ain't made it and everyone's sleeping on me.
No, totally. It sounds like you're using it more as like fuel. You're not using it as like something to keep you down. You're like, no, I got to stand on top of this and keep building up on top of it until I reach a point where I'm at the top.
Exactly. That's what a lot of people I feel like need to realize, like, stop worrying about everyone else. We're all also chasing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like 1 in a million, bruh. Like,
I think, I'm not going to disagree with you on that fact, but I think back in the day, everybody could find a seat at the table because they built the table for people to sit at. Now everybody's trying to get to this spot that they think is an already prepared table. They don't want to go out and get the lumber and put the legs on and make a space for enough people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like I think there's plenty of room for people.
Yeah, there's plenty, and there's plenty of talent.
Yeah, there's plenty of people.
Plenty of talent. I'm like, man, y'all know, like, there's like not exactly what you're saying. There's not a lot of room for all of us.
Yeah.
At the same time, so it's like, I don't know. I just don't feel like we should all be against each other.
No,
and that's why. Yeah, I try to help everyone.
Yeah,
like. Even though, like, I could be the most confident person, like, think I'm the greatest ever, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, if an opportunity comes around and I don't fit it, I give those to other people. Like, I don't care, because at the end of the day, like, we're all fighting. We're all trying to get somewhere. And I don't think somebody blocking that or, like, trying to stop you.
Yeah, no, gatekeeping is the worst part of the industry.
Yeah, if you're going to make it, you're going to make it. And so, like, I don't know. I think a lot of people might like me because I am very open to helping other artists too. But like, I don't know. I've just never had a problem with helping other artists, even comedians.
Yeah.
They might be in full competition. I can name like 8 comedians I help, and sometimes it hurts my heart in the back. We all are like, damn, they about to make it before me. But at the same time, you're just like, but who cares?
Hey, a rising tide raises all boats.
And also, I've read this. Nick Cannon talked about this in a podcast. He made it up there and he remembered everyone. And he said, I brought all those people with me to Wild 'N Out. And we all sat in a freaking group and created together and created this whole thing. And it was all these people. So like, I say keep the connections with everybody, because you don't know who's going to make it. And also, people really like F with you. They're going to pull you up there with them.
Exactly.
If I make it, you know how many people I'm going to help? Like, if someone thinks I'm not, that's wild.
Yeah. I
have so many friends who I think are so talented and like slept on. Like, I would totally help if I got famous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get famous.
When I get famous.
When you get famous.
Right. When I get famous.
Manifesting.
So it's just kind of like, I don't know why people like churn on each other's back on. I'm just like, for instance, Swiggle Mandela, if he makes it, I know damn well
he's bringing the community with him. Shout out Swiggle Mandela.
He ain't leaving me back. He gonna be like, all right, girl, get on my tour, come host for me. He gonna put my name out there. And that's the same thing I would do for so many people in the hip hop community right now. And so like, y'all should learn that game. Like, keep your networking up, for real. I want to look at that camera so bad. So.
You're all good. You can say hello to the people whenever you want to. It's all good.
Keep your networking up. Don't be hating on everyone around you, because you never know who's gonna make it and might take you up there with them.
Hell yeah. No,
It's true.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But getting back into it, before we dig all the way in, I am kind of curious, what made you choose entertainer over musician ultimately?
Dang, that's hard. I guess because I don't actually want to like chase rap, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to pursue a rap career.
No, that totally makes sense.
That's just not what I want to do. Like, I've had people try to manage me and be like, oh, chase rap. I don't want to do that at all. So that's more what it is. When I think about my career, I think about making comedy albums. I think about 1-hour specials at the Apollo or something at Comedy Central. I don't think about dropping an album, to be real. And people think I'm thinking that all the time. I'm not. I'm like actually not thinking about music like that. But in a way, I drop singles. Like, I drop stuff like here and there, but like I don't know if I have like the capacity to like want to sit down and make an album and do that. But like I'm cool making music here and there. But I could say that. But I'm totally gonna make an album because people keep asking me to, and they write.
Have you ever like thought to go like like the Reggie Watts or Dimitri Martin approach and like incorporate music into comedy as like a main thing?
Yes, so that's pretty much what I try to always do. I try to incorporate both in every performance I do, even in stand-up. But I'll say with stand-up, I pretty much keep it full stand-up. But I do like, rap parodies in it, kind of like Cat does. Or I'll have sound effects like Cat does. I only say Cat because I did grow up with Cat. And I like now that I look at the comedy I do, I'm like, I didn't even realize how inspired I was by him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's incredibly inspirational.
I watch him now, I'm like, oh,
shout out Cat Williams one time.
That. Yeah, because I have a DJ for my stand-up. People don't have DJs for their stand-up, and it's just for like sound effects and random stuff like that. What was your question? No, I lost my train of thought.
No, I mean, that's kind of the gist of it, like your incorporation, or like first the question was choosing music, or entertainment over music per se, but then I was asking like, have you ever thought of like incorporating it mainly in the comedy, which you answered.
Yeah, so with stand-up I do that, and then with rap I just do comedy rap. So I just feel like my sets are more fun, they're more entertaining. I always talk to the crowd, I always riff, I always jump in the crowd and do something. And I'm now doing skits in between my rap songs. I don't know why. I just decided to do that one.
Hey, I mean,
so now I'm doing a skit in it.
Skits are a lost art. I don't.
Yeah, so I do that, and people are always confused because it's a rap show. But yeah, I try to incorporate both in both things I do. But ultimately, the fact that you said that, I do actually want to throw a show where I incorporate both. And I will say I totally saw Donald Glover do that.
Okay.
And so when he was first coming up in stand-up, he literally held an hour special, and it was him doing 30 of comedy and 30 of rap.
Damn.
And I was like, that's brilliant. And it like sold out, and I'm just like, I could do something like that because I am also multi-talented like him. He can entertain, or he can do comedy because he's really good at it, and he can rap. And like people aren't doing that. And I saw that he was doing that, and now he's Childish Gambino. I just thought that was dope. No one's doing that. So yeah, that's definitely something I want to do because I've never done that long of a set when I can. I have that much comedy. I have that much rap, but usually I'm doing 10-minute sets because that's what people are just booking you for.
That's fair.
And I have to like shorten everything, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, damn. Well, yeah, no, I don't
know. When you're a creative, I feel like my mind's always going like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, that's.
Yeah, it's like that's short for somebody who has so much material.
I'm like, I feel like I have so much to say, but
yeah. And I guess I would be curious to see when you finally get to do that, because I would love to know how you blend the two together as like a narrative.
I have an idea, so
that's
exciting.
Something
I want to do.
That's exciting. Well, y'all get ready for that.
As hell, but I'm gonna do it.
And I guess actually that kind of segues into this next one. Well, like you do many things. You're in front of people all the time. And it seems like that's a space that you enjoy existing in. But, at the same time, like you said, that it's nerve-wracking. It can really tear at you. How do you find a balance between, being yourself on and off stage?
Ooh, I'm going to just say therapy.
Oh, this show is pro-therapy.
I'm going to just straight up say therapy. That's one of the things I speak about in therapy. Because sometimes that character I'm doing on stage, people don't realize like that ADHD, that energy I'm giving out is extremely exhausting.
Trust me, I feel you.
I like act like it's so easy to be like super hype all the freaking time. It's not. It's a switch. I always say I turn on. I tell that to all my friends. I'm like, oh, gotta turn on the switch tonight. Because most people who know me, like I'm actually an introvert. I like am super quiet. And then like nighttime comes around, I'm like, all right, turn the switch on, y'all. And I'm like, woo! But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to manage the two. At least it was for me for a while, because my struggle was how do I, this is really weird to say, but like, how do I act around people when I'm not on stage? And that was something I struggled with in therapy. And she's like, just act like you. And I'm like, but I don't want to be hyper. I don't want to be out hyper. I want to just like relax and just hang out. And she said, just do that. So guess what? I went out and just relaxed. Guess what? Everyone thought something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
Are you okay? What's wrong, Shrista? I'm like, nothing. I'm just
This is
chilling.
just me. Yeah.
I'm just
what I'm like off stage.
So it was weird, but because of that, I actually don't do that now. I actually just turn the switch on every time I'm out because I got to realize I'm a whole brand. I'm trying to be a brand. I'm trying to build a fan base. So at the end of the day, I gotta just like be that character. And it sucks to say that, and it definitely messes with my mental, but I'm in therapy and I talk about it now.
Fair. I guess, after a while, do you find that you've like at least worked that muscle out to where you can do it for longer periods of time? Or
Yes.
like you just go home and hard decompress now?
I actually take a nap before every single time I go out. Only people that know me close, and now this podcast, I guess everyone now. I actually take a 3-hour nap before I go out.
Oh, damn.
Every time, because of the energy I have to put out, and people don't. If you see me out, I'm like super, super hyper, but like it's an energy and a stupid dang character I put out originally, and now I just have to kind of keep it up in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I take a nap. It's beautiful. But sometimes it makes me late to everything because it's really hard to get out of a nap at like late at night. I take naps at 5 o'clock.
Oof.
Like I usually take them from 5 to 8 p.m. I wake up and then get ready for a show. Like that's my normal routine.
Gotcha.
And so sometimes I do be late because
that's a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm so sorry, Swiggle. I'm so sorry I missed Willamette Week because of that damn nap.
Oh, no.
That was the only reason I missed his Willamette Week show. That's like my bestie. I was so upset. And I literally was like, I am not lying to you. Like, don't think I'm lying. I literally just didn't wake up from a nap. He's like, nigga, a nap? I'm so sorry. Like, how embarrassing. But that was my fault. That was like the only time. But usually I'm pretty good with my naps. But end of the whole story is I take a nap to get that level of like character and energy out there because it's exhausting.
As far as and I would call that self-care. As far as self-care goes, that's probably one of the more affordable approaches. You know what I mean?
People are like, man, I'm gonna start taking naps now.
Yeah, hey, maybe we'd all be
adults.
Yeah. Y'all be out there napping more. See what happens. No, hell yeah, I love that. And I mean, at least you found your thing. I think that's really what it comes down to is knowing what works for you, as long as it works most of the time. I think is a way to do it. So, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now for this next one, in a different interview, you had mentioned that your sister is popular on the internet, and you mentioned that your niece is competent at rapping and things like that, and it sounds like her dad is as well. Is everybody in your family more on the like entertaining side, or is it just this current generation is?
What's crazy is just this generation. And it all happened like randomly at the same time. I'm like, when did we all become entertainers? Like that's like I started becoming an entertainer within the last 5 years. My sister within the last like 2.5, and then my cousin last 5, but she's a child, so like people didn't know.
She was kind of bored
until like a year ago. But yeah, it's weird because we are all entertainers. I'll say my cousin Jory is like she's a rapper. She's kind of like a mulatto, just a little more hard. I would say I don't know any rap. I was like, what is a rap style? I don't know. She can rap. She's lyrical. My sister, she's popular on TikTok and Facebook. She's kind of a comedian herself, and it's just funny because she was always funny growing up. I was always funny. Our mom's funny. My sister makes a lot of TikTok lip sync videos. She's hilarious. I am visiting her soon, so we gonna make a video together.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, everyone's like, why haven't you guys made a video? I was like, I don't know. But yeah, we are all entertainers, and I don't know where that came from, but I guess we all are, and we're all pretty dope at what we do, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like the next generation of y'all is going to be even more entertaining at this point because you got a good foundation to go with.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But outside of just being an entertainer, you are also a promoter.
I am.
And I know recently you were running, late lyrics and clowning and things like that. And I'm sure that people would like to know,
dun, dun, dun.
Is that coming back? What do you have planned for those things? What's going on with that?
So yeah, late lyrics is my hip hop open mic. I stopped it for a couple months because you guys got to realize booking is stressful.
Fact.
And running an open mic is so like, you have to work with like 25 people. And people usually only work with like 5 or 6 for regular shows. I work with like 25. So honestly, it's stressful to like be a promoter, work a day job, chase your dreams. So I took a break from it. But I am going to bring late lyrics back for the summer.
Okay.
Talking to some people. We're trying to get like a park edition. And that will also be all ages. Late lyrics was originally all ages. It just wasn't last year because of the venue I went to. So people were actually pretty upset about that. So I kind of want to also bring back that all ages aspect so everyone can have an opportunity to perform in front of a large crowd because we get a lot of people. So they all want to perform there. With clowning, I actually just want to take clowning in a whole different direction. That's why I stopped it. And the different direction is originally I had it as I would book 5 comics and I hosted it. But once I started seeing the show, I'm charging $25 and I'm selling out with 90 people at Kelly's Olympian, and they're all coming to see me, and now they're upset that I'm just the host. I'm realizing the entire fan base is my fan base.
Interesting.
So it's like I'm hosting an event, I'm throwing, and I threw, I think, 11 of them, and everyone is just coming to see me, and I'm selling it out. So why am I booking these? No offense to y'all, but why am I booking all these people when, like, this is my fan base? So the way I'm changing it is I'm now going to be the headliner of my own event, because why haven't I headlined my own event yet?
Yeah.
Everyone has headlined my event but me. So I'm going to be a headliner, and 2 people can open for Shrista now. Y'all can open to my fan base of 90 to 100 people. And y'all should be lucky. Shoot.
I mean, I guess that's a good opportunity. That's kind of like you're saying, creating a space for the people, but also it gives you an opportunity.
I got to level up.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, I've done all this for so many people. I got to think about myself sometimes. And I never have until I got into therapy. Like, you got to, like, remember what you're doing as well. And also, shoot, we was talking about age before this show. Like, my age, like, I'm in my mid-30s as well. I just look good. Black don't crack. But it's like, I have to start thinking about my future as well. And if I'm chasing comedy, I'm chasing stand-up, and I have a literal comedy show that is one of the most popular in Portland, debatable, whoever want to argue that, argue with me. But it's like, I should be headlining that show. I should be on that show. This is my show. I should have some type of something on it, and I get nothing out of it. I'm actually just paying a ton of people, and I'm getting nothing, honestly. Clowning doesn't bring me anything because I pay out so much to all the people that are booked on it. I have like 10 or 11 people booked, you know?
Yeah.
Like 5 comics, a DJ, a videographer, a photographer. I have so many things that it ends up being just, you know, I think it's like $950 payout for clowning.
Damn.
So it's just kind of like, I was making about $1,100, but it's like, man, I'm leaving with $100. All that work I did, all the payout for this graphic designer, it's just so much work. And then I just like, I feel like I just do sometimes too much for the community, as in like I'm doing too much for everyone else, and I never help myself ever.
I mean, in the wise
It's the first time I'm like, oh my God, why don't I help myself for once?
Yeah. Hey, in the words of Cat Williams, you got to look out for your star player.
Facts.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. On some real shit, it's crazy to think I ran that show for 2 to 3 years. I never headlined. I barely made any money, and everyone's made way more than me. Everyone on the show makes more than me, and it's my show and it's my fans. So no, I'm not doing that no more. I'm helping myself for once.
Hey, I think that what you did was admirable. You know what I mean? Like, you created an opportunity. Also, you had an opportunity to learn. Like, you learned probably at a really...
learned hell of stuff.
Yeah, you learned at a really accelerated rate. You know what I mean? You got to observe so many different opportunities and situations and figure out how to curate the best thing while building an audience at the same time.
Yeah, and a brand. And it's like, I want to be a stand-up comedian. I want to be headlining events. So, like, I've created an event where I can actually do these things that I want to do. And I'm like, let me take advantage of this for once. Yeah. What am I doing?
And it's not to say you couldn't still do something similar, just not to the scale. So instead of having to have like full videographer the whole time, you know, like crazy graphic art and design stuff all the time, you could still create a space where people can go and open mic.
I can still throw a whole different comedy show.
You can still host an event and still do your own thing that has that level of production.
Yeah.
So I think being able to acknowledge that, you know, I guess shout out to your therapist for helping you come to that point, but like being able to acknowledge the opportunity to kind of grow in that space as yourself doesn't mean you have to do away with creating opportunities for others. You just got to prioritize you for a little bit so you can reach that next level and create better opportunities for people, even, it sounds like.
And that's also that also goes with late lyrics, because it's like, I was doing it so often. Again, I felt like I had no time for my own brand.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, y'all, I got to make it monthly. I can't do weekly anymore. And people were so mad about that. I'm like, I need to like do stuff too.
Yep. Yeah, we're all people.
Stand up. Like, I don't want to just host an open mic for y'all every single week. Like, I'm chasing something as well. And people just seem so upset. But like, I got to remember, like, we're all like, I have to remember, like, I'm here too. And I can't just let people walk all over me.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I totally get that.
Keep your head up.
Now, why don't we take a moment then and let's fangirl on some of your accolades here, because you've definitely done some cool stuff and you've worked with some cool people like Preacher Lawson, and, Cameron Esposito. What was that like? How did you come across those opportunities? What was it like spending time with them? Like,
Both of those were actually pretty cool. Cameron Esposito, that was dope. Both of the opportunities, they contacted me.
Nice.
That's what I try to tell people. I'm not out here reaching out.
No, I mean, you said in the beginning.
Reached out to me. They found my email and contacted me. It wasn't an Instagram DM. It was a literal, their managers reached out to me by my email.
Damn.
Like, I put it out there, like my booking email, but it's nice when people actually listen.
Yep.
But both of those were both booked by Cameron and Preacher. So that was dope. But with Cameron, I loved her because she was super goofy. And also, she brought out like an entire LGBT crowd that I wasn't even aware was this supportive. I've been sleeping on our crowd out here, but also I don't go to enough LGBT events. I need to get on my shit. But yeah, she sold out the Aladdin Theater, and I got to open for her.
Damn.
Aladdin Theater was 600 sellout, and it was literally sold out. And it was just like all gay people, which is my audience. So the video I have is probably my best video because they're just, everything I say is hilarious, you know, when it's your audience.
Yeah.
So that was the coolest thing about doing something with a celebrity, because like she chose also like another gay person in Portland. And so like she has 2 openers that are gay. We don't ever get to do like an audience like that. So like I didn't even know it could be like that.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a celebrity in that moment. Like, but that's the type of audience I would always love. And so like to do clowning, I do get that audience, but it's like 90 people. But it's like now I'm realizing there's a way bigger audience here. I just am not at a bigger venue or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Cameron because she made me realize there's a huge fan base out here that I'm sleeping on for my own brand. With Preacher, we were actually, I think, in McMinnville. Yeah, we were in McMinnville. It was deep. No, Preacher was hella cool, though, except for he was a vegetarian. That was different, but other than that.
I think he says that in one of his specials. And
yeah, because we had all these chicken wings. We had all these chicken wings. I was all excited. And he's like, they have something for me. I was like, huh? And we look over and he's like getting his little vegetarian food. I was like, oh, what the hell? But no, Preacher was cool. I don't know if he remembers, but I actually met him like 4 years ago. It was literally probably like my first weekend to stand up. And I went to a show and he was performing at it. But because back then he like lived in Seattle and Portland. I don't remember. He was always here though. But he was always just doing Portland events and Portland shows before he was famous. So I had already seen him perform. I had met him.
I thought he was like from Eugene or something.
Yeah, he was from, I was like, he was always doing Portland.
I know he's Oregon.
I was just new, so I wasn't ever like, I wasn't booked a lot on the same shows as him back then.
Yeah.
But I saw his shows. And then I just remember him going out for America's Got Talent. And like, I actually thought he would get popular because he doesn't cuss. And as a stand-up, everyone knows, like, you can go on actual family-friendly shows. You can get on TV if you're not a cussing comic. He was, like, the only one. But that's also why I feel like people used to hate on him back in the day. Because I used to wonder why he wasn't famous. Because his personality was so crazy. And it was, like, but that's why they hated on him. But it was, like, yeah, he got up there, and he just killed it at AGT. And everyone loved him. Then he just literally just blew up. So
yeah. Damn.
Yeah, I was just like, wow. That's tight. And he was a comic, and comics don't make it far in AGT.
And
he made it in the top 10. And he only got cut because he was a comic, because it's kind of hard to like keep going, honestly. When you watch comedy, it kind of gets boring on AGT in a way.
Yeah.
Explain it.
There's
only 5 sets they let you do. It's really boring.
I don't think you need to get to the top there either to make it.
He proved it.
Yeah, like once you're
literally
funny,
proved
you're funny. Everybody knows.
Yeah, we're like, all right, this was funny. All right.
Yeah, like you don't need the competition.
So I'm like, man, you made it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But I'm happy for him, because he's like that person you would see who always had the it factor. And you're just kind of like, why aren't they famous yet? And then he literally got famous like 2 years later. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, hey, you just always keep grinding.
I was like, makes sense.
But I mean, it's so cool you got to share the space with him and like be a part of that. And it sounds like, you learned a lot from experience with him, with Cameron, and you're really going to take a lot from that as well.
Yeah, when he came out here, I don't ever say this, but I was not ready for that set. Because I was only ready because of the money. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fair.
That was the most money I've ever been offered. It was literally like $1,000. So
damn.
He asked me for a 30-minute set, and I was just like, but it was like a week before. And he's a celebrity, and I just like felt like I needed more time to like make it the best ever.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it was my best set, but I was gonna I hate saying this on camera. I was gonna decline the show because I was scared to do 30 minutes in front of a celebrity. and like bomb. I don't know why. I've never had that happen where I just was like, nope, I ain't taking the show. Like, I ain't about to make myself look stupid. And I never did 30 minutes. I knew I could do it because I talked so much, but I was like, I just don't want to bomb my first 30 in front of a celeb.
Yeah.
So I declined it to my management, but they never declined it, I guess. So I was told the day before that I'm performing for Preacher Lawson.
Oof.
And they already sent me the money, and they're like, the money's on the way. And I'm like, what? And so I like go, bro, I really didn't plan to do this, and I didn't have anything. I just have like tons of riff and stuff. And then I just said, girl, you're about to see Preacher Lawson tomorrow.
Yep.
It was the most pressure I've ever had in my life.
I was going to say, he's about to see you tomorrow.
What happened?
Yeah.
I wrote 30 minutes in 2 hours.
Damn.
And memorized it. Yeah. Because I was so afraid to do bad in front of him. So they're telling me at 5 p.m. the day before, I performed at 7:30 the next day. And then I just like was like, fuck. And so I wrote all these topics, and then I just started writing, and I like wrote it all out. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the set I wanted because I couldn't redo it.
Yeah, you didn't have time.
To this day, it hurts my heart because I couldn't like go back through it. But I fixed it since then. But it's like I did it, and then the next morning I woke up at 6 a.m. and memorized it. And then I practiced it 4 times in a row, 30-minute sets. So it was hell, which took like 2 hours.
Yeah,
because you practice.
Yeah, mathematically that makes sense.
I was like, this is hell. And then I performed it, and I did well. And then literally, Preacher goes, I heard you wrote a 30 set last night. And he was like, that's kind of some goat shit. And like, even like, I didn't even feel like that was my best set ever. And I'm still like, I know he was like, that was cool. And I had a lot of laughs, but it's just like, I could have did better, but like just to hear him tell me like it was at least like you wrote 30 minutes the night before, like I can't even do, like he probably can now, but like I couldn't even do that when I was a newbie.
Yeah.
So it was still cool to hear, but it was not my best set.
No, I mean like
it was hard.
You got laughs and you didn't.
Yeah, I got laughs and I made it through 30.
Yeah, you got through it and you didn't upstage the headliner.
Yeah, I definitely did.
I think sometimes that's
he was probably like, thank God.
That's what some people were worried about. You know, I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts and they're like, we'll go out to these areas where we don't know
I hear
the headliner.
They pick the worst people to go before them.
Yeah, because they know the audience. They have like the establishment. So like I think honestly it played out kind of perfectly given all things minus the fact that
I thought I was going to bomb the whole set, and I was like, wow, I actually like did good.
Yeah.
I was like, I had a couple like dead moments, like some jokes that didn't hit, but ultimately, like, I think like 24 minutes killed. I'll give it 24 minutes.
Hey, that's a solid. I can't do the math on that percentage. That's a solid percent. This is like a B plus to A minus for sure.
Thank you.
And now, how long had you been doing comedy by that point?
Well, I got injured, so I've actually just stopped doing comedy because I was injured for like 2.5 years. So I started in 2018. Mm-hmm. And then I started back up. I did 2018, 2019, and then 2022 to now. So I've actually been doing like 3 to 4 years at this point. Well, I don't count my injured years, so F y'all.
Well, more I mean like when you wrote the 30-minute set, how long into your accounting of comedy had you?
Yeah, I wrote that last October.
Okay, so it only been like 3 years of comedy at that point.
And I do a lot of riff, unfortunately. I'm not a big writer. I don't know why. I'm just not a huge writer. I like to riff a lot. Like I write stuff.
Yeah.
But like I riff off of everything. Like I could write a 5-minute set, and within my set I'll write it out to places I can riff.
Yeah, you just kind of write like jumping off.
Yeah, and I do it a lot. So people are like, how do you do that? It's because I literally kind of write in where I'm gonna riff. So it looks like I'm straying off topic all the time, but then people are like, how do you bring it back? It's because what technically wasn't.
You're just trying to get to the next jumping off.
Yeah, I've even had times where I have this joke where I'm on stage and I'm talking about dating this white girl. Mm-hmm. And I actually wrote in because I'm at a black comedy festival and I mentioned that I'm dating a white girl, which I knew at a black comedy festival that I was going to offend people or make people mad or make black people like, oh my God, and groan, which they did, which I assumed.
Yeah, you were prepared for it.
So I wrote in, hey, black people, shut up. Everyone thought I riffed that. I actually wrote that in.
Yeah, you were prepared for it.
Yeah, I'm like, a lot of stuff also that people think I'm riffing is actually written.
Yeah.
And the stuff that goes viral, people always think I wrote. I'm like, no, that's a riff, actually. Like, I made that up on the spot. But a lot of my really good lines, those are written in, and people just think I'm riffing.
Damn. I mean, I guess that's...
Like, my really good punchlines, I usually didn't think of that on the spot.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's...
stories that I... you know.
Yeah, I mean that. I think that's a good way to approach it, though. You know what I mean? Like if everybody gets the punches at the right time, like how you get there doesn't really matter in the long run, and it makes your set super diverse every time.
Yep.
Because the space in between is going to be different, even if you get to the same points.
And sometimes we don't even know what punchlines we're going to use. I'll say this, like, shout out Debbie Wooten. She's a comic here, but like she was telling me about how she has all these punchlines and like. They're not necessarily written in her set, but like it might be a time where you're going to use that.
Yeah.
And so I have a ton of random punchlines in my head that will randomly work in a moment, and then I'll say it. And then so technically it's a riff because I didn't plan to say it in that moment.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I already had written.
Yep.
And so I have a lot of those, and I definitely use those a lot of shows too, but people don't recognize it.
No, hey, I mean that. That sounds like a solid way to do it. And I guess it's cool because, you know, especially like with that one line in particular, it just, you knew your audience. And I think that goes a long way as well.
Yep. Always.
But now I guess I'm curious because, you know, you did a lot, you do a lot yourself, you've done a lot yourself, but you do have a manager. And for the you know, the people that always want to level up, they always have to decide when's the right time to get a manager. Is there a right time to get a manager? Do you even need, you know, like what made you decide to get a manager?
That's a deep question. I'll say you have to find a manager that works for you. And also you can work with someone who you can get along with really well, but that doesn't mean that's the right person for you.
Yeah.
I'll just say that in a way because I don't think everyone needs management necessarily.
Yeah.
Because I'll say I got far without a manager, but the benefit of a manager that people don't realize is they can help you with a lot of stuff in regards to like the business side of things.
Yeah, moving the pieces.
Yeah, the bookings, the networking, all those little pieces that you're talking about.
Even the negotiation on things that like
everything
your
like that.
Personality may not be attuned to.
Exactly. So it's beneficial if you want that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it helps because it gives you time to create. It's way less to think about. Even with like goal setting and things, like them just staying on point with you, making sure you're like knocking things out.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, once you become big, you have to have a manager. There's way too much stuff you have to manage.
Very much so.
Also, I don't think artists realize how much they're managing and how much can be taken off their hands if they had a manager. Like, I feel like when I got a manager or people on my team, I'll say that too.
Yeah.
Because I had people on my team before I had a manager, and they were just very helpful. So if you have a lot of people on your team or management, it definitely lets you actually create. So that's what I like about it. You actually have time for your art, but it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
That's all.
Hell yeah. Now let's gear back towards the comedy for a second. And this one, this is more of a asking for a friend question. But what are some indicators of like good quality comedy? What are some things like people should look for when they're like starting their own sets or when they're getting into it? What are some things that like you've noticed from working with so many comedians that seem to be the standout aspects, no pun intended, of people that are like getting into it or doing it more early on in their career?
I don't know what you mean.
So like what are the things you notice from the people who are like consistently nailing it earlier in their career?
I'll definitely say social media. And I can say that because I can tell you 6 comedians who are probably funnier than me and everybody, but they ain't got no social media. But they're booked all around the city, but no one barely know. I ain't gonna say names, so I ain't trying to hate because people do know who they are, but it's like wild that they're not famous. But I think social media is a lot of people's downfall. So I think with comics, you definitely have to put a social media out there. And you cannot be yelling or be mad at the crowd. I will say a lot of new comics, their issue is when a joke doesn't hit, they do this thing, it's a comedy thing. They're like, that's not funny. And they start yelling at the crowd and they actually get mad.
Yeah.
I almost said a comic's name, but I'm trying to be nice. And they just get mad and wonder why don't no one want to book them. Like, bro, you're not funny. Crowds hate you. But it's a new comic thing. But I've also seen new comics who did that and then they ended up being like a lot better down the road.
Yeah.
But like if you're starting out like that, it's going to take you years.
Okay.
Years.
So don't come at the crowd.
Yeah, don't come at the crowd. Like at the end of the day, if the joke didn't hit, it's you. Like sometimes audiences do suck though, because I mean I'm LGBT, I'm a black girl in Portland. Like not all my jokes kill every audience, but I ain't gonna admit that. But you know, I still
allegedly
get giggles.
Allegedly,
yeah, I still get giggles. But yeah,
I guess what are some of the other things that like are like positive elements though? Like what are something where it's like you've seen newer comics where you're like, okay, they've at least got that it factor starting.
I guess it would just have to be the jokes.
Okay.
Honestly, it's just the way they do their jokes, their punchlines.
Okay.
A lot of comics are not funny. I don't know if you go to open mics, they think they are, but I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's who has good punchlines.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
So it's more like
but yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess like I'm trying to think of how I could ask the question to find the answer because I'm trying to get into it. That's the friend is me. And I guess, like some of the things like I'm really analytical when it comes to stuff. So I'm curious to know, like from somebody who's been doing it for a while, what are some of the littler things to like think of ahead of time? What are some things to kind of get you a good jumping off point, I guess?
Well, I would say if I knew this at the beginning of comedy, I would talk more about myself and like what I actually like the outside looking in and what people think of you. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you think, like, you don't want to make fun of your gap. You don't want to make fun of how skinny you look or whatever. Like, you got to, because that's what everyone's already judging you for right there. And that's also going to make your comedy hit more because they're already thinking about it. So if you bring it up, it's going to hit even more. And that's something I don't do. Like, I don't do that in my comedy right now, but that's why I'm writing a new set, because I'm like, wow, I've never talked about my gap. And people always bring it up. I never talk about being short. I've actually never. And that's the main thing. Everyone always, oh my God, I didn't know you were this short. I get that so often that it's like, there's so many things about myself I don't talk about. But I mean, I was an insecure kid growing up. So I think I I literally purposely left those out and didn't realize it. But I would say comics, when I was new, like, for instance, like Brian Bigsby, he's a chunky guy. He talks about being chunky. But, like, I want to hear that. I like hearing the perspectives. It's funny. But it's like when people bring up what they look like Amani Dene, she's goofy looking. Like, she literally talks about how she looks like a nerd. And, like, that's the first thing I thought, but I never wanted to say that to her. But it's like, that's something I don't do, and something I'm trying to work on now is talk more about myself and laugh at myself.
Gotcha. Okay.
You got to learn to laugh at yourself. I literally don't. I talk about stuff. I don't actually talk about myself, and I didn't notice till I noticed.
Oh, that makes sense. And I guess that makes sense mostly because, like, everybody can relate to looking at you. Like everybody in the room, they may not all have your same world experiences. They may not all like have the knowledge that you have of places and things. Yep. But you're standing right in front of people. They're going to know what you're talking about.
Even go-to roast jokes are always physical jokes.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, it hits way more. I've just seen I don't even know who it was. Maybe Bo Johnson. Some Seattle comic. It was a black guy, and he had a really big booty. Like, it was so big. Like, he had a dunk, and he's just walking on stage. And I'm like, I was thinking, does anyone else see this guy has a dunk? And he's a whole straight, like, he looked like a straight male. And that's the first thing he said. Literally, he just opened up with, I know y'all saw that ass when I was walking up here. And that's what I mean. It's like, why don't I do things like that? And it just made me love him immediately right when he brought it up. I was like, oh my God. It's the only thing I was thinking when you walked up there. Now I got to look up his name. I'm going to find it for you. But yeah, it's just, talk about, if you're going to pursue comedy, talk about yourself.
Okay.
And don't be scared to.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. That is
also, I asked my friends, outside looking in, what would you want to hear from me? I got some stuff from some friends. Some friends like, whatever you want to talk about, Shrista, you're amazing. But then some friends,
like, that's not how that works.
And shit. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know you wanted to hear about that. Okay.
Hey, I mean,
you have to be open to it too, because some people, like I had a friend send me like 40 things. I said, bitch, I didn't ask. I didn't say I didn't know how to write. Hold on. Yeah.
well, I'm sure there was at least a couple cool things within that 40.
There was. I was like,
I'm sure you read all 40 of them.
I have a new set literally because of one of them.
Ah, okay. See, that's just the long way around to get to the point.
I was like, I hate you, you little fucker, but it is what it is.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Facts.
Now we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the main part here. I have one more portion that we do, which is all hypothetical questions. But before we get into that, I guess this is how I end the middle portion with everybody. And I'm definitely really curious to know, because like I said, this is the first time we sat down with anybody who is outside of just doing music. But you know, you've been doing this for a while. You've been really involved in it forever. And we've now kind of gotten to experience your thoughts and your experiences. But when it's just you and, you know, comedy, entertainment, music, what have you, when it's you and all of what you do one-on-one, what does it give back to you?
Damn, that's deep. Oh, damn. I'll say probably my comedy and entertainment is definitely, when I was a kid growing up, I was always really quiet. I say I was an introvert. So I feel like when I found my passion really late in life, it also showed who I was. And so I feel like a lot of people in my life got to see a whole new me. And so I feel like it brought out Shrista. It brought me out. It brought out my light. It brought out who I was. Even just like a lot of my comedy is about being gay, but a lot of my growing up was people hating me for being gay. So honestly, like to see my comedy and how freaking confident I am talking about all that gay shit, I'm just like, go you. But like, I feel like comedy and entertainment just, I think made me, I can't think of the word right now. You'll think of a good word for me. But I just feel like it brought me out of my shell, made me feel more me. And even though I have a bachelor's degree, blah, 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 I feel like my passion for comedy makes me way happier than anything's ever made me. And so, I don't know. And I don't know what it is. It's just like entertaining people in general, or just socializing. I love being a social person, which is weird because I never wanted to talk my whole life. And then the moment I freaking talk, I realized I liked it. I'm like, what the hell? Where the hell I been?
No, I mean,
entertainment came to me, I guess.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think that it sounds like, you know, you used it as a way to like bring the you out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it gave you an identity even. Like
identity, that's the word. I knew you had one in there.
No, and I like, you know, that's I mean, I get that for sure. Growing up, I was loud, but like I didn't really get to interact with people. Like I was always trying to search for attention. So
yeah, I feel that too.
Mine happened the other way. I would try to be like, you know, obnoxious. I would try to like make moments. And then once I realized that communication, like talking to people, like finding those interactions is how I was able to connect with people. I thought I was this big crowd person when really I love individual interactions. And that's, you know, ultimately what led me to here. And it sounds like you found a way to do that with a crowd. So like, you know, by being a host, by being an entertainer, by doing rap, like things like that, you actually found ways to individually communicate to a whole group of people at one time, and they get to see, you know, assumably the real you in that respect.
Facts.
And that's really powerful. So I really appreciate you sharing that. But now let's go ahead. Let's move on to some hypothetical questions.
Dun, dun, dun.
And these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Okay, hit me.
But this first one's pretty straightforward. If you could, and we, you know, you can put yourself anywhere in this lineup that you would like, but if you could have anybody on a 3-person lineup, who would you want?
For what? Why did I think basketball immediately?
Oh, I mean, for like, you know, you could do comedy, you could do music, you could do entertainment. Like, a lineup? Yeah, like.
Oh, shoot. I'd have to go. Ooh, dang. Cat Williams. Chappelle and Mike Epps.
Okay, hell yeah,
that's my peoples.
Hell yeah, oh, man, that would be a phenomenal show.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, those are like my I have a top 5, but those are my top 3.
Okay, who are the other two? Like, I gotta know the other two then.
Chris Rock, and then Jamie Foxx. Oh, Jamie Foxx.
Hell yeah,
Jamie Foxx. I love Jamie because he's a multi-talented entertainer, because he can, you know, act and he can sing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a musician, comedian. He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
So he's my little slept on one.
You know, I really wish more people would bring him up. He's definitely got all this talent all over the place.
He slept on. I only was recently just watching, I think, Def Comedy Jam or something. And he was on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to seeing him acting now or doing music. I totally forgot for a minute he was originally from stand up. I'm like, oh yeah, I used to watch him all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll say Jamie.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll leave it at 5 then, because that is a stellar lineup.
I was like, Chris Rock, man, he was just a smack. I've seen some of his recent, I'll give it okay. But original prime, smack.
And then subsequently, and this question is always attached, so I'm definitely curious to know for your answer, who are a couple of local people that you would like always want to have on a show if you could book them all the time?
Oh, you're trying to start some shit. I'm just playing. Lance Edward. But I do kind of book him every other show, so I'm not really lying. Are we thinking of my favorites or me trying to be nice? I'm just playing. Lance is one of my favorite. I was going to say Carter Anderson, but he moved. Deja Monet.
Okay.
She does a lot of skits, but her riff and her roasting is so freaking funny. So I'll go Lance, Deja. I go, ooh, this is hard. I'm going to go Dahlia. I was going to go Imani, but I'm going to go Dahlia.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go Dahlia. I like Imani, but sometimes if she's not always my audience, because I ain't a nerd. I was like, Dahlia, ignorant like me. I was like, she ignorant like me. But other than that, yeah, that's who I go for. Damn, that was hard. You stressed me out there.
Well, this next one's much easier. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, none of that, like guaranteed the best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue, it could be anywhere, where would you want to perform?
Dun, dun, dun. Beyonce's mansion. Yee!
Okay.
I don't even know why.
Hell yeah.
I'm just a B fan.
Hell yeah.
That'd be lit.
Everything should be at this point, you know.
In location, Beyonce's mansion, like,
yeah.
Who wouldn't show up?
That, yep. Yeah. That would definitely be an exclusive show for
yes, that'd be lit.
Hell yeah. And then this last question is one that I ask everybody, so we're going to stick to this one because I always really like this question.
Dun, dun, dun.
But if you could get one more musical album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday.
Oh, God, this is going to be a hard one, too.
Who would you want an album from?
Honestly, probably Pac. I say Pac because I loved, like, his music because he was also, like, an activist.
Mm-hmm.
I love, like, he can write some club shit, but then write some real activist-ass shit, or some shit just for people in the struggle.
Yeah.
And just, like, standing up for even just thugs or people, like, the reason they have to do the things they have to do. So that's why I always like Pac. So, R.I.P. Pac. And then I was going to throw out Aaliyah.
Okay.
Only because I loved her R&B. It sucks like she had to pass in like such a spontaneous, shitty way.
Yeah.
But I would say Pac and Aaliyah. And then just to stir something up that has nothing to do with that question, but to rewind back to my top, I gave you my top 3 local comics. I didn't say my top 3 musicians.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I shouldn't have brought it up, but if I had to do a top 3 and like throw a show, it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but Shrista don't care. We can go Swiggle Mandela, Carmo Rivera. Ooh, this third one going to be hard. Because there are a lot of people I like. I was like, ooh.
I mean, you could change up the sound completely and throw echo on there.
Ooh, not doing that. He knows I hate rock. No offense. Dang. Who's someone? There's actually an artist I actually just love watching. He might not be on a lot of stuff. And I don't know if that's his own choice. But I'm just going to say him because those 3 on a show together to do their stage presence would smack. North Jordan. I don't know if you know who that is. That's what I mean, though. This man has the it factor.
Okay.
He's been on a lot of huge shows with Mike Capes and all, like, the top people. Like, anyone who's big in hip-hop knows who he is. I don't know why he doesn't perform a lot. Maybe he's not trying to chase it, though. Like, not everyone's trying to be famous. I've learned that, which is weird. I've actually learned that from people. I'm like, what? You don't want to be famous? I was trying to make money on this. I'm like, oh, That's a thing too. Oh shit.
Hey, some people do it for the
That makes sense
art.
though.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, all right. But yeah, I'd say North Jordan.
Hell yeah.
I think he goes by something else though, because he just changed it. He's changed his stage name. It's not North.
Well,
Jordan
if
something.
anybody knows what it is
Jordan
now,
something.
if anybody knows what it is now, put it in the comments. So we can get them on here.
Facts. Oh, you should. He's lit.
Hell yeah. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start wrapping this up. What can we look
Oh, I thought we were rapping. I was like, oh, bitch.
No.
Woo, I was like, you could have let me hit the weed first. I don't even freestyle, but I was going to pop something stupid.
We'll bring you back for another time.
No, ever.
But what can we look forward to, let's say, between now and November? What we look forward to?
Well, I do have a show coming up, actually. I have Roy G. Bibb, thrown by Delaney Malone. That is in about a month. But we're going to bring Late Lyrics back for sure. At least 1 or 2 park shows. I'm trying to headline for Clowning because I done talked about it so much. I need to do it. But yeah, you guys will at least see Late Lyrics back, Clowning back. And you're going to see me doing more stand-up, less rap stuff. I know people have been getting upset. But the reason is because I'm trying to push my own brand to the same, I'm trying to push my own brand. So I'm trying to take more stand-up shows, less hip-hop, unless it's hosting. Because I can still throw out comedy. But I don't really want to take rap shows, and people don't understand that. But I'm not trying to pursue rap. But I'll take a rap show if you're down with me doing comedy in it.
Gotcha.
And most people are not weird, so they're like, okay, sure.
I mean, everybody, your audience is going to know. They're going to know.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Shrista's going to do some crazy shit. I'm like, I'll do your rap show, but just know, I ain't going to
It's going to be funny. Yeah.
Like, I did Still Booming the other day, and I did 6 minutes of stand-up. And then I did 2 songs, so it's like...
See, that still counts.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'll do your show, but I have to do comedy. Like, I feel weird just rapping. I can't just rap. But anyways...
Oh, yeah.
Let me stop blabbering.
No, you're all good. For this next one, go and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
You guys can find me on everything at SHRISTA, at Shrista. Holla.
Oh, yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout-outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Nah, fuck all these niggas. I'm playing. We'll say... Shout out to everyone in the hip-hop community. I'll at least say that, because it seems like everyone in hip hop has always supported me. And honestly, being gay and a female in hip hop and all the hate you hear about being gay and a female in hip hop, I feel like I actually get a lot of love in my own city. I don't know about other cities, but at least in Portland. So I'll say shout out Portland hip hop for being very inclusive, at least with me. I won't say y'all do the same shit for Roulette Delgado, but it is what it is. You know how to talk some shit.
Oh, yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like it. And don't forget to use code JAMBOX for 20% off and a free gift. With that being said, the final question.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this is entirely up to your interpretation. And we're modifying it slightly. Or no, you know what? Actually, I was going to modify it. I'm going to keep it the same because I'm very curious. What is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Damn, albums? Yeah, I don't really know. Oh, I had to think. Okay. I was like, who do I listen to that I never hear people talk about? And then I forgot his name. Now I got to think of his name. What? He just changed it. Boogie. Yeah, it's Boogie.
Okay.
West Side Boogie.
There we go. I was like...
He changed it. It's West Side Boogie now.
Oh, okay.
I'll say I got on from him because of Mike Capes. He had made a post about him, actually. And I was like, who's this? And he was just talking him up like he was so dope. So I had to go peep him. And that dude could rap. So I actually listened to his whole album. And I just fell in love with his album. Yeah. And I don't ever fall in love with people's when you like every song. Yeah. That's weird. So it was just weird to really appreciate his music. And I just love how he rapped too. But West Side Boogie, he's dope. And Swiggle got to get a feature with him. And I just remember being so excited and knowing who West Side Boogie was. I was like, y'all sleeping on Swiggle.
Yeah,
West Side
that's a deep cut name right there for sure.
I was like, he's dope. Only Portland wouldn't know who he is and not talking it up more. But no, I remember finding him out probably 5 years ago. And yeah, he's slept on. I check out a lot of his albums. I just love most of them.
Hell yeah.
And so I'm like, West Side, yeah.
Damn, that's actually a really good answer.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Now, you know what?
Think hard.
We're going to plot twist it. I'm going to ask the original modification question anyways. Who is a lesser known, bigger comedian that you would recommend to people? And I'm going to throw out one first. The first comedian that like really got me into real comedy was David Grier.
Okay.
And that's just a name that like nobody knows. I can't even find the special. I know the name of the special. It doesn't exist. It's not on the internet anywhere. Like it's not played on Comedy Central anymore. But the Book of Grier was the first special I saw where I was like, oh, he's talking about some shit. Like it was on Late and Uncut. So like it was very uncensored. But like that was the one where I was like, oh, this is comedy.
Yeah. I'm like, You know what's weird? It's really hard for me to get into like people current. I'm so stuck on old heads.
Oh, that's okay. The deep cut's totally
fine. There is somebody, and I just hate that I cannot think of her name. But maybe you'll know it only because of what she looks like. Maybe you would. Maybe.
I'm iffy with names.
Me too. That's like,
I'm curious.
She's a lesbian, but she's like 6'4", white, curly, like mullet hair, butch. And now we can look it up after this. But I saw her stand up, and I was actually thoroughly surprised about how much I laughed. And she just had all these great like ideas about just gay stuff. And I'm like, why didn't I ever say that? And it's a lot of stuff I relate to. That's all I was like, why haven't I thought of that? Why haven't I thought of that? So I just kind of watched her set. I was half jealous, but I was like, okay, you're tight. But now I got to figure out her freaking name.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and put it right here. And that's who it was.
You funny.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get up and out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Woo woo. Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me. It was lit. Man, that was like the most thorough podcast I've ever been a part of. I was like, ah, damn, I done lost all my voice.
Hey, well, we appreciate you being here. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Shrista.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.